Hey Math 5, happy Friday. Before we jump in to continue our practice with adding integers, make sure you have yourself a good math laugh. More than ever, this should ring true to you now that you understand what the symbols are for absolute value. Keeping in mind that absolute value is always, always, always positive. Remember, it's just the jumps from 0. So if we're looking at negative 6 is just 6 spaces from 0. So the absolute value of negative 6 would be 6. So the absolute value of I'm sad would be I'm sad. Get it? Because it's positive. Liam, you laughed, right? Okay, good. All right, we're going to keep working with adding integers, positive and negative whole numbers. This time we're going to take a look at just 3 problems together on this Friday with integers in word problems. So continuing to build the idea that integers are used in everyday life around us. So feel free to pause right now, grab a math notebook, pencil, any material you have because we're going to do some problems together. Number 1, a football team loses 5 yards on one play and loses 8 yards on the next play. How many yards did they lose in 2 plays? So let's break this problem down and we're going to look at some questions together. So I'm going to be writing things down on a whiteboard. I'm going to ask you to write them down too just for some practice. How do we represent a loss of 5 yards? I'm representing a loss of 5 yards as negative 5. It's something you're losing, so loss or losing something is going to be represented with a negative. How do we represent a loss of 8 yards? You could be thinking about this in your head, writing it down to compare with me. Here we go, a loss of 8 yards. And then what would our addition sentence look like? The question asks, how many yards did they lose in 2 plays? Here's our addition sentence, negative 5 plus negative 8. Because although they're losses, we are trying to figure out the total amount of the yards that they lost. So what's the answer to the question? Well, I know in my problem that both integers have the same sign, so they're both negatives. So I can add 5 and 8, and I'll get 13. And I'm going to keep the same sign. If I'm adding and I have the same sign, my answer to the question is also going to have that sign. And I'm going to go ahead and label my answer here. So how many yards did they lose in 2 plays? They were out. They had a loss of 13 yards. All right, let's try another one. Number 2, you park in the garage 3 floors below ground level. Then you get in the elevator and go up 12 floors. What floor do you get off the elevator? This is such a relevant question and way that we can see integers. Think about if you ever go to like a shopping mall, or maybe when you go to a doctor's appointment, or in my apartment complex, I park on level P2, so that's parking 2, so it's 2 floors below the ground floor. So these are really relevant questions and a way for us to see positive and negative numbers in our everyday life. So let's take a look at these. How do we represent 3 floors below ground level? Negative 3 because it's below ground level. Going up 12 floors would be a positive 12 since we're going up. And our addition sentence is going to look like we start at negative 3 and we go up 12 floors. And what floor would they get off the elevator? Well, I know I'm adding, and I'm going to look at my integers, and I notice that their signs are different. I have a negative 3 and a positive 12. So when my signs are different, I'm actually going to subtract. So I'm going to think of them just like absolute value, the absolute value of each one. So 12 minus 3 is 9, so I have subtracted them. And then to think of my sign, I'm going to take the sign of the number with the larger absolute value. Well, 12 has a larger absolute value than -3. 12 is positive, so my answer is also going to be positive. You can also think of this logically. If you have -3 and you're adding 12, -3 plus 3 would get you to 0. And 12 is much larger than adding 3 to get you to 0. So you can use some logic to realize that your solution is going to be positive as well. So the 9th floor, I'm going to label my answer, would be my final thought. All right, and let's try one more for good measure. All right, last one for this Friday. Peter weighs 156 pounds, but he would like to wrestle in a lower weight class. So he loses 4 pounds one week, gains back 2 pounds the next, loses 5 pounds the third week, and loses 3 pounds the fourth week. How much does Peter weigh at the end of those 4 weeks? How do we represent weight loss? Okay, weight loss would be represented with a subtraction or a negative sign. Weight gain would be a positive. And now we're going to create an addition sentence to match this. So we want to know what his final weight is. So we do need to know where he starts. So Peter starts at 156 pounds. And then it says he loses 4 pounds one week. But I need to make this an addition sentence. So instead of saying 156 minus 4, I'm going to do 156. I'm going to make my writing a little smaller. 156 plus -4. That's how I'm starting. And then he gains back 2 pounds. So plus 2, because that's how I'm representing a gain. Then he loses 3 pounds, so plus -3. Oh, I forgot, he loses 5 pounds and then loses 3 pounds. So plus -5 plus -3. So he starts at 156. He loses 4 pounds, so I did plus -4. He gains 2 pounds, so plus 2. He loses 5 pounds, plus -5, and loses 3 pounds, plus -3. Now I need to go ahead and solve this. So with addition and subtraction, we know order of operations, and the order of operations says that addition and subtraction go in order from left to right. So I'm going to start with my 156 plus -4, and that's going to get me what? 152. And then I'm going to do my 152 plus 2 that he gained, and I have 154 plus -5 plus -3. Go ahead and finish out that problem on your own, and you can pause it and then press play when you're ready to hear the final answer. All right, are you ready? Remember, when you're adding integers with different signs, you're just subtracting, and you're keeping the sign of the integer with the greater absolute value. So I had 154 plus -5 plus -3. I would end up with 146 pounds. All right. As you're solving these, don't get too bogged down with the rules. They're there to help you, but the rules are just naming strategies that you already know, and it's just naming what you could figure out using logic and reasonableness too. Let's take a quick look at today's assignment. You are going to be doing an error analysis. So make sure you click on the Google Slides. It will explain to you today's assignment, what an error analysis is and how you'll be conducting one. The more detail you can put into this for me, the better. It'll show me what you understand about integers and what we need to review next week before moving on to subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. If you have some questions, or you're just wanting to do extra practice, or you just want to say hello, I will be in our Google Meet today from 11 to 12. Feel free to pop in for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, as long as you'd like. And I'm looking forward to seeing you there later. All right, if I don't see you, have an awesome Friday, and we'll be back together on Monday. Bye, guys.